So my first question to you is, do you still snog?
Do I still snog? Yes, I do.
Good.
Particularly my husband. Yeah,
Good,
we've been
good.
married almost 20 years. We still snog.
Oh, that's great. That I love to hear those news. Could you tell me about your first love or your big love in 3 words?
What do you mean by love? Do you mean romantic love or do you mean
That's
other
up to
kind of
you.
love?
That's up to you.
Well, I think my first love was my parents and my sister, probably. I would say comforting, joyful, and love.
Oh, that's lovely. And is there a song that will bring you back to that feeling of love? Is there a special song in your heart?
Oh gosh, there are so many. Oh, these questions always, I find them very hard. That always pulls me back to a loving feeling. I would say it's a lullaby
Yeah.
that's called, it's actually called Christopher Robin's Prayer, I think, which Melanie was a singer in the 70s. But my mother used to sing it to me, but she sang it differently to Melanie. So I only know it how my mother sang it. I don't actually relate to the original. But yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
would say a
lovely.
lullaby.
Could you sing a little or no?
Pardon?
Of
I
it?
can sing a
Could you?
little bit.
Yeah, a
I can
little
sing
bit
it
of
to
it.
you. It's very
Yeah.
cute. And my whole family now know this lullaby. So my cousins, they always make me sing it to them. So I used to put them to sleep like this. So it goes, little boy kneels at the foot of the bed, kneels on his little hands, little gold head. Who's there? Christopher Robin is saying prayers. And then it gets really funny.
Oh, that's so beautiful. You got such a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. And then, how important do you think music is to one's love life?
Oh, I think it's very important because music can do so many things to the kind of frequency of our being, to how we feel. So I
Mhm.
think you can have, sexy music, you can have loving music, you can have music that brings you back immediately to feeling that you had at whatever point in life when you would listen to that song. It can remind you of people you care about. It can
True.
connect you as a family. It can connect you with other human beings who go, I also love that. So I do think
Mm.
love and life in general is massively connected to music.
And how important do you think dance is to one's love life?
Well, I think that is also very important to our love life, and it also loosens our body and it loosens our hips, and it again it connects us with people. And my husband and I have a goal, a long-term goal, which is when we feel like we can prioritize it, we would like to go and take kind of ballroom dancing and actually go
Oh, nice.
properly old school dancing together.
That's
Because
lovely.
it's so beautiful and it's so elegant. And
Mm.
but there are many forms of dance. You've got dancing in clubs, and then you've got ballroom dancing, and then you've got traditional dancing and ritual
Mm.
dancing. And I just think human beings in general, we underestimate the cultural importance, the actual essence of life, that music and movement, all those things are life essences. They're necessities, they're not luxuries, they're not like
Mm.
an afterthought. They are the absolutely core of our being, and
That's
it
very
connects us
true.
to the cosmos.
And it's very true what you're saying as well with folk dances and
Mhm.
the cultural, it's kind of forgotten a bit. I agree with you.
Yeah,
We
well,
don't really see it so much.
I think particularly in the West, we have almost divorced ourselves from the core of our being, which is strange. And then
Mm.
we suddenly panic, and then we go on some trip to India, and we think it makes us spiritual. When in fact, the connectedness is in every single culture. Doesn't matter
Mm.
which culture you are from. There will be something from your culture, which you don't always have to borrow from other people. It probably exists in your own, but we kind of poo-poo that and we don't find it as exciting. So we go and borrow from, which, I'm all for borrowing because I think inspiration is a wonderful thing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that every single culture has a basis in exactly the same thing: music, movement, and language. And they are really
Mm.
essential to us as human beings. And you can connect into that on a deep level, like.
That's very interesting. And it is just somebody, as you say, they go now on yoga retreats, they go on other
Yeah.
things. And one was saying to me now how important it is that we go, without shoes, that we actually feel the ground.
For sure.
Yeah.
Although
And that was
I
interesting.
would argue it's easier in a country that, like Norway, where we are from. I think I would die if I was to walk around without shoes all year because of the snow. But it's absolutely true. Going bare feet and being on the grass, swimming in the sea, hugging a tree sounds so stupid, but there's science behind it, that you're actually connecting with the core of the earth. You're actually connecting with the mycelium in the ground because they are connected to the roots of the tree. So there is a lot of kind of common sense amongst things that maybe people don't understand, I would say. But bare feet is a way to ground yourself, and we aren't grounded. We're walking around with rubber soles. If you walk with leather soles, you are still grounding. It's the rubber that prevents the ground. That's why wearing rubber when there's a lightning strike protects you from death. And that's because it stops, right?
Yes.
It doesn't actually go through you. So there you go. There's all the evidence you need, is that it's the type of soles that if you have fur or you have leather soles on your feet, then you will still ground. That's why indigenous people, if they have something on their feet, it's always leather or fur.
That's a very good point. Very, very good point. And important to actually be conscious of. Very important.
Yeah, just to be aware of it at least, because if you're aware of it, you can at least do something toward remedying that. There are loads of solutions to that now. You can buy a grounding mat and plug it into your grounded socket in your house, and you will sleep grounded. So that is something to sorry, I'm like over the average interested in these things.
Yeah, no, but me too. It's important.
I'm super curious about all this.
Yeah, no, and I think also we forget to listen to our instinct, because I know, for example, we were in London kind of around the same time, and I would actually go barefoot around in London, and I think I needed it. Yeah, I just needed it. My instinct.
You're
I think
very
that
brave.
is important.
I'm not sure I would dare to go barefoot in London, knowing what's on the streets. But barefoot in the woods and around my lawn, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So brave.
And then we would love to hear how it all started for you with the music. How did it all begin?
Was I think like most people who end up working in music, it just started when I was little. I have a very conscious memory, and it's hard with memories sometimes because you don't know if they originate because you've seen a photograph and then you've been told the story, or whether you actually remember. So I can't tell you whether I actually remember it or whether it's a recall based on that. But anyway, it's quite vivid to me, the feeling of it. And that was that we were in what used to be called Yugoslavia. So whether this is now what is Bosnia, or I couldn't tell you, but it was in the former Yugoslavia. And we were in a local restaurant, and my parents and my big sister were in the kitchen talking to the chef, because that was what you did about what you wanted to eat and what they had and everything. And so I was sort of enthralled because there was a fiddler and an accordion player, these two older men who were playing their instruments. And I was completely transfixed by the music. And so I was just standing there like this little Norwegian girl. I was like 4 years old or something. And I was just standing there smiling, looking at these men playing their instruments. And all these restaurant people were kind of just looking at me. And then I just got completely carried away, started dancing and just started spinning with my arms out. I had a pretty little dress on and I had my arms out and I was like dancing to the music. And then people started clapping.
So cute.
And that was like, that memory was so strong. I remember being completely like, I had never had people clap for me before. And I thought this was what is happening. And I liked it. I thought this was great. That was kind of my first like experience of music in that way. But music really, I think because my mum used to always sing me lullabies and scratch my back. So music to me was like singing was connected with safety and comfort and love and all those wonderful feelings. And she always did that. And I had all these children's cassette tapes with Norwegian children's songs. I missed cassette tapes. They were very cool. And I would listen to them over and over. We had, an LP player, and I used to always listen to music on there. And all kinds of styles as well, because my father loved country music. My mother loved kind of the Mormon tabernacle choir music for Christmas and stuff like that, and Bing Crosby. And my mum's American, so I had a lot of American influence. We didn't have a lot of Norwegian music in my house. I was very heavily influenced by American music. So that was kind of what started all of it. And then, you know, I started getting interested in it in a bigger way than just listening. And I would sing, and I always sang.
Yeah, so it was, you were born with
I was
singing.
just born like that. And I think
Yeah.
I actually think it, you know, I think most children, I would argue, are born with a innate love of music if they are exposed to it. But obviously a lot of children aren't exposed to it listening or kind of in their environment or singing them. So I don't mean you have to sing yourself, but there's something about, I think if you are exposed to music, you will always love it.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's one of those things that we kind of lose, because like we talked about before, music is so much bigger than what you think it is, because music is frequency. And we know that some types of music raise your frequency higher than other types of music, for example. It does something literally to our heart. It's directly connected to our spirit. It is directly connected to how we feel. And so it is a sort of essential thing. And when you kind of remove that from a culture where it stops being about singing around the fire, it stops being around connecting stories, you know, where people used to use music as telling stories and all these things. When you remove that kind of element where it becomes more of a choice, then, you know, a lot of people are simply not going to have that experience.
No, it's true.
So
and that's sad.
That makes me sad.
Yeah, me too. It should be brought back again. We should do a campaign.
But I think they're trying to. I do think I do think kindergartens, like nurseries, I do think a lot of them do a wonderful job at bringing, you know, singing in a circle, playing an instrument, you know, giving all the kids a maracas, a tambourine, or a little rhythm instrument, or a cowbell, or, you know, all those things. I do think, because I've seen it myself in kindergarten. I used to work in kindergartens when I was younger, and seeing the effect on children when you bring in musical instruments and you go, you get to make noise, they go mad.
Yeah.
You know, they love it. They absolutely love it. And you teach them nursery rhymes. And I haven't met a single kid in kindergarten that when you either allow them an instrument, if they don't like this, so you either allow them an instrument where this is your job, you have a really important job, where at this point you play this bell, or, you know, every single kid will find you can find something enjoyable for every single child in the garden, and they respond to it immediately like that. So it's just us really as grown up. I think kindergarten does a wonderful job, but I think, you know, more parents, if they knew the power of it, I think more parents would do it.
Yeah, and also encourage, because, you know, when you think about singing, everyone can sing. It's a muscle.
100%.
So you just need to
100%.
exercise the muscle. And there again, I think there's so many teachers and stuff who's ruining the pleasure for many to sing.
And also,
it's so wrong.
It's not just this muscle, it's this muscle. Because obviously you can everyone has a voice, unless obviously you're born with a disability of muteness, where you do have damaged vocal cords. But most people can make sound. But it's also about training your ear, because you need to train hearing pitch. That's a trainable thing. That's also a muscle.
True, absolutely.
So you can train both of those things. And, you know, there will be people who naturally, for just being born with a certain physicality of how their vocal cords are, will perhaps sound more pleasing to the ear than other people without that advantage. Just like some people will have the advantage of being able to run faster because they have been born with a natural advantage on top of training, because that comes as well. It's not enough with the gift of your lucky biology, but it's a bit of both. So, but I think absolutely everyone can learn to.
Yeah, and they say actually that if you sing out of tune and you teach yourself, you will sing better. You will never sing out of tune ever again.
Yeah,
which is fascinating.
I totally believe that, because you can tell, you know, you can tell, and that gets harder work the older you get, I think, because it is, you know, our muscles get older and tireder and everything, and so you become more and more aware of having to work for pitch. Whereas when you were younger, that might have been a bit easier.
True. And then we would love to hear what you're up to.
Well, I actually am in the middle of doing ABBA music tour because I love ABBA music. And I grew up listening to a lot of ABBA. I was born in 1975 and they won with Waterloo in 1970. Was it 74 or 76? I always forget. I can't remember. But so I have, really been a big fan since I listened to their vinyl record, ABBA, the album, a lot. And then I obviously did Mamma Mia, the musical.
Yeah, well, you are the original cast.
Yes, I'm the original Sophie in the Mamma Mia musical, which is hilarious. Yeah. It's been seen by I read somewhere, it's been seen by over 65 million people over the world. That's not including the films.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy that our little London cast in 1999, that we were working on this thing and we were just crossing our fingers that the critics weren't going to hate us and that, hopefully people would come. Because you never know when you're doing a show. No. You might think this, we're onto something here, but you have no idea how people are going to react. So the fact that it's still here 25 years later, and it's been seen by 65 million people all over the world, that to me is insane. So I decided that because it was my 25th anniversary as an actor and a singer next year, and because it's ABBA's 50th anniversary and it is Mamma Mia's 25th anniversary, I thought I've got to go and share my love of ABBA music with people. And because I've had the privilege of working with Ben and Bjorn as well on the show. So I did that. So we just opened in Kristiansand in a beautiful concert hall called Hilden. It's a theater and concert hall, absolutely beautiful, and it was just so much fun, and people were standing up and singing along and clapping, and it was just like, it was such a fun evening. So we opened in September, and then we're not doing any more now until November. It was just how it worked out. So I'm going to tour every Friday and Saturday in November, and then we're planning a bigger tour in February and March. So that's sort of at the forefront of my mind. But I'm coming to America to perform in Washington DC, Minnesota, not with my ABBA show, or musical theatre, and also I'm still working on my film and TV stuff as well. So I'm in the middle of doing my show reel and getting that all ready and sent off.
Yeah, wow, busy lady.
Yeah, and voiceover, I just completed a voiceover thing that is not coming out till 2025. So I've just finished that, and I can't tell you what, it's a Norwegian job, but that was really fun. Yeah, there's just I have my hands in. I'm a bit like you. Like, I feel like we're quite similar because we're both you're doing a lot of different. You've got your film. Like, congratulations. You were just in Cannes. That must have been awesome.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're kind of similar. Like, we're doing loads of different things. And you've got kids. I've got kids. And we're still,
going. Which I think is good. Yes. And I think that's so important because it's such a message to every woman out there. There is nothing stopping us except for ourselves. And as long as we're alive, we got to go. We got to go.
I just think, I do think people are obsessed with age.
Yeah. Which is such a shame.
Which I think is so utterly pointless because the thing is, I don't know about you, but I definitely feel, I kind of feel like the most confident and good about myself I think I've ever felt is kind of now. I'm 48. But whenever I say I'm 48, it sounds really weird to me. Like, I can't get my head around that. And so I don't even think about it. I'm like you. I feel like there's so much I want to do. And we have limited time. Like, there is just some laws in the universe which are there, which means we are born and then we die. We have no idea when that is.
No, exactly.
So my philosophy is definitely, I want to live a good life. I want to have as much time as I can with my family. I have a lot I want to do, with music, with acting, with sharing an experience and stories with other people. That to me is like the essence of the whole thing, is that we are sharing an experience, me and the audience and whoever I'm working with. It's about that connection between us and our audience. It's not about the thing. It's just about what are we connecting? What are we
energy?
What are we sharing? And I think that is such a important and meaning. To me, it's almost like healthcare, because when people come to my show, like, they will come in all tired, they've had a long day at work, and they come in and we perform music that they have a memory of, that they connect with, that they have feelings about. and then they get invited to also, you know, with some of the songs to sing along if they want to.
Which is lovely.
Yeah, you know, that kind of thing. And then you see them leave with a completely different energy than they came in with. And that to me is kind of, it's so sort of like profound, really, I think. It's kind of, you know, I'm improving people's energy levels, and meaning that they are strengthening their hearts, they're strengthening their organs, they are strengthening, you know, their spirit, their body, all of it.
Yeah.
I would argue.
Which is good.
Yeah,
which is
I
good.
should work for the NHS. I should be like, we should be like music as healthcare.
Get them all to
policy.
sing. Yeah. That's
but
actually
I
a good point.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, we see
That's
that
a good
with
point.
Alzheimer's patients. You know, you see that music is the one thing that doesn't leave memory. It goes into a completely different part of the brain where it's lodged, where they will forget your names. They will forget who you are. They won't even remember that they are your mother or your father by the end. But you can sing a song that they learned at nursery school, and you can share that together, and they will remember that. How crazy is that?
That's amazing. That's so beautiful. So
You
and
know?
so important again.
Yeah.
To
So
know.
I think, you know, we just got to carry on, and you know, everyone, and whatever that they are doing, if they find that job fulfills them and they have meaning in their work, or, you know, because everyone's important, everyone's job is important, everyone's you know, we rely on everyone to do their bit in the world. And so we just gotta
I love that. Absolutely. And my last question to you is, how does the word music make you feel?
So happy. Yeah, so very happy. I don't know where I would be without music. Like, just having music in my life, having the access to music, which everybody does. Yeah,
actually not everybody. Now with the Taliban, they're not allowed. They get
to sing.
They get no music. They're not even allowed to listen to music.
That's awful. Yeah, but luckily, no one can control what's in your head.
True.
You can connect to that, and that can be your inner rebellion. You know, evil kind of forces and cruelty towards humans has always existed, unfortunately. And we got to keep, obviously, doing what we can as human beings.
As you say, your mind. Your mind, no one can control.
And I think in a rebellion, we can all rebel. No one can own your mind. Well, at least not yet.
No, that's so true.
About some of the tech that's coming along. Like, no one's putting Neuralink in my head, I can tell you. But the human spirit can always survive. We see this time and time again in the most gruesome of circumstances, that some human beings manage to survive the most gruesome thing, and that is because they have managed somehow to retain their humanity, to retain their spirit, and I don't know how they do it. I can't, you know, it is
survival instinct.
People who have strong survival instincts, it's really admirable. But and that's
but it's so lovely. It's so lovely to have you on the show. I'm so glad. Glad that we finally managed.
We finally did it. It was just chaos, wasn't it? But we finally did it. It's so nice to meet you.
Yes, me too. Finally, I hope to meet you in Oslo in real life.
We've got to do it. I love your Instagram. You're such an inspirational person with everything that you're doing, and I love that you kind of no holds barred. You're just so yourself, and I think that is a beautiful thing. And I think,
but likewise,
if more of us dared to be like that, I think it would be. That's a bit of a rebellious thing, which I love. I love a bit of rebellion.
Oh, I wish I could hug you. Well, we have to in Oslo. Virtual hug. And have a lovely day. And thank you again.
You too. Bye.